Last fall, Joseph Pathanti was here, and he challenged us to use books as well as visual works of art for ekphrastic writing, and I was sort of intrigued by that idea. So I rummaged around in my bookcase, and I chose a book that I've had since I was a teenager, The Journals of André Gide, which is really weird. Gide was a French writer, and he won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1947. This book was published in 1956, and I guess the first poem I had to write about this was, why in the hell did I even have a book called The Journals of André Gide? So that's where this poem came about. The name of it is Posure. Loud and clear, I heard books could change one's life. Traveled with a yellowed copy of the Journal of André Gide tucked in my suede fringe bag. Hoped the title would lend gravitas to my 16 years. His writings were beyond my grasp. Searched to be fully oneself when all I wanted was to be someone else. I waved the tome over my life, a scepter invested with the power to conceal my provincial upbringing. With it, I prayed for ablution of the black crescents of work under father's fingernails, banishment of mother's handmade doilies beneath dime store knickknacks, deliverance from a gray 3 million ton limestone quarry town. Now, Gide's early writings showed an enchantment with the aesthetic world. He was really passionate about the sensual, and one of the lines in his journal really made me think, and that line was, "Old hands soil, it seems, what they caress." And so I wrote this poem. The name of it is Grandma's Hands, Disagreement with André Gide. Old hands soil, it seems, what they caress. Dare he disparage a lifetime of toil, hands that scrubbed overalls against washboard, snapped baskets of beans, crocheted lace apron hems. Her dry, striated hands slowly returning to dust, strip lower leaves from black-eyed Susan, Joe Pye weed, Russian sage, poke stems into canning jar, carry flowers to wooden table, hands grasped around glass, prayer of flesh and bone.
Graduate in May. And I've never done an open mic before, so hi. Hi. So the first poem I'm reading is called Manage, and it's a bit long, so just let me know how much time I have after it's over. Okay. It's Manage. Across these endless plains grows flora, wild and untamed. Athwart these fertile grounds, the wildness of nature abounds. And just as the earth needs the trees, so too the world needs hairy women like me. Yeah, I could write some doggerel hippie shit about how it's spring now and I'm tired of shaving my legs. Slap some hackneyed poe-y tree onto a hempen page to lie there. Self-righteous, bloated, dead. Obviously, I can do that. But who the fuck shaves a tiger to make it feel fierce? And then burns sage, sings kumbaya over the clippings. The hair on my body isn't mannish. It's normal. It's historical. It's warm. So, it's simple. I've decided I'm not cocky enough to tell evolution it's wrong. I'm a mammal, damn it, and hair is what mammals have. The world would run short of rocks for every one of us sunning ourselves into warmth, and since we fight over rocks enough as it is, I'll just be hairy instead. And I'm tired of making it rain at the Rite Aid every time I go in for razors and shaving cream. I'm not ashamed of my marker-thick tampons, my diaper-fat pads, wings big enough to fly me to the moon. I'd probably only punch the bitch anyway. So, why bother with shame over the hairy state of nature? Men, don't care. I like the thought of my lover remembering that cave women clubbed things they didn't like to death every time his fingers wander over my woolly shins. So, ladies, if you like your legs smooth, rock it. Thighs smooth as butter do feel quite fine, but thighs fuzzy as French cheese spread just as well. So, don't shave for a boy who hasn't evolved taste. This is a short one, and it's serious. This was planned before you even said anything, Dr. Bailey. So, switch it up. And this one doesn't really have a title, but I was told to write a blessing poem for a class, so here it is. May words fail you once, twice, a few times before you die, knowing that in those silences you lived enough to leave the world less noise, less chatter, less letters wasted on the sacred profound, the pregnant pauses that bear more meaning, more power, more holiness than saints' prayers lifted for their wordy, dying dead.
This poem is entitled The Refugee. I stopped for water by an ancient tree, smoldering in a war-torn land. Seated, she peered, flesh soiled with blackened eyes through sunken sockets. Our fears mingled in stagnant air. Because it was afternoon, a fierce downpour of welcome rain coated the fire-damaged trunk, limbs that failed to serve as shelter but left hair, clothing pasted immodestly to the body, and me shivering. Walking away, she nuzzled her infant to her breast and an older baby to her starving frame. Sunset followed, predictable, like that day's river of mud.
This one was called Buddha's Belly. There he sits with his great golden belly, the alley his throne. He makes his own junk, or the equivalent thereof. Not a user, he metabolizes it from those that surround him. He doles out his wisdom with his junk, both of which are toxic. You never leave with one without the other. He smiles if you agree, frowns if you question. No matter your luck, never dare a rub, lest you be absorbed, lost for forever. Too many friends now gone, his belly ever larger. Thank you.
I have three poems. The first two are relatively short. As always, they have references to the natural world. The first poem is titled Tree Lesson. It has a subtitle, Tree Lesson While Watching the River Birches in Autumn Wind. Now that I know that color warms slowly the flesh around one's soul, and sight is delicate, I'll stand still and learn how through wind's enthusiasm a tree makes soft sounds in anxious shadows. The next poem is Night Shadows. Night shadows open my eyes, fill my imagination, tighten my spine. They are close and far away, beyond any light in an unknown sanctuary. Darkness is their kingdom, and dusk just beginning is their cape of evening. No force can terminate them, untangle them, illuminate them. They settle where they are in my mind's eye and murmur in my chest. This last poem The title is Don't Hold Back, but it could be titled Advice. If you want to paint God's work, don't skimp on imagination. Don't hold back on color. Too little blurs everything. The sky will look like a speculative sky. The lake like a practical lake. Just paint one pine needle. Just paint the reflection of your pupil in a single drop of rain. Then there is the wind. Try painting what it looks like instead of what it does. There is the dragonfly's wing, the maple leaf's veins, sunrise. How about painting the promise of sunrise? Too little color is not enough for us ever. After all, we want it to drench our brain. We want it in our imagination. We've always understood what actually appears. The flowers in the garden, the sunset beyond the mountains, the mill by the creek. But how about a picket fence, entirely white, as though we painted it in snow? Thank you.